for that to come through. And where's my okay? I need my okay. There's my okay. Click that. And now we click that. Now we click that again. And okay, it says encoding, but I don't see a timer anymore because this window isn't sized properly ever since I had to. All right, well, it says encoding, so that should be good enough. So let's do this. And it's time once again for another fun-filled edition of
Insert title here.
And I'm here with my trusty co-host, Brian Blues.
Woohoo!
Who has a light.
It's actually a pair of lights.
A pair of lights.
It shouldn't have, any big shadows, right?
Okay.
Of course, I'm looking at a postage stamp, so this is good it is for me. As good as it gets for me, a postage stamp size.
A postage stamp size
I probably
light?
should turn the camera so it's the lights are on both sides, but one is kind of just to the right of the computer, and the other one is further to the right.
Now setting up these lights, did you have to set up and use a scaffolding at any point?
No, these are lights with clamps.
Clamps.
So one's clamped to a bookshelf, and the other to another shelf that's in the closet.
So you didn't need to make use of a scaffolding. Now, what about a screwdriver?
No screwdriver at all.
No, not even a cordless drill.
Nope.
No, ratchet set.
Nope.
Okay.
I bought one lamp I had that had the clamp, so I could put it anywhere I wanted, and I bought a second one from Home Depot today.
Yeah.
Actually, the Home Depot one is pretty nice. It's like a bullet lamp, but it has a clamp instead of a stand, so I can put it in other locations.
Right. Okay. Speaking of things that are electrical and light up, let's talk about my TV.
Your TV.
My TV. I back like over 10 years ago, I bought a 42-inch Vizio high-def TV through Woot.com, and they delivered it to Oakland, and no one stole it from my front step as it was being delivered, and no one stole it from my apartment the years I lived there. And no, they took the cheap 13-inch from the neighbors upstairs, but my 42-inch was safe and sound behind windows with bars on them. So and no one checked at the back. And no one checked the back window because that was wide open, as in no bars. Not wide open as in I left the door open and a sign saying free TV this way. No, but actually, I don't.
If you can get it out the window.
If you can get out the, which, hey, I don't know if you get out there without breaking it, but one way or another, you can. Well, no, once you let yourself in the back window, you let yourself out the front door.
But some criminals are not that smart.
No, I don't know.
Otherwise, they'd get a real job.
Yeah, but well, there is that. There is that. There are some intelligent criminals out there that it's like, damn, you should get a real job. You'd be a useful, productive member of society if you put that smart. But no. So, of course, after 10 years of successful TV viewing without not a problem or a breakdown nor an issue, I decided, why in the heck would I continue this trend? Let's jump ship to another brand next purchase. And because, you look at a Samsung TV.
So you went from reliable brand to... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I made a huge mistake. I should have stuck with the Vizio. But the thing that I noticed was that at my place of work, they have a lot of Samsung TVs up around the office, and I noticed that they have a rather bright, vibrant picture, And I was like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, Samsung does tend to have a pretty bright, vibrant picture. It's, kind of a nice
Well,
visual
you
appeal.
recall I had that Samsung monitor here that had problems
Yeah.
with the pies.
Ugh. Yeah, I should have paid attention to
Well,
that.
so I had another large Samsung screen on my main computer that I pay the bills on, blah, blah, blah. That one crapped out. I
Right.
mean, wouldn't even turn on. Probably the power supply. Well, the little light came on, so it's probably a main board just fried, just
Yeah.
whatever. Just said, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I
Samsung
pulled that out and took the one that wouldn't work with the Raspberry Pi, plugged it in there. Hey, and that works.
Samsung makes some crap is what I'm finding out.
But
Because
yeah, and the reason why I got Samsung is photographers tend to prefer Samsung because they have the best picture and you can dial in, the color levels.
yeah, and
So you can make it exactly way the picture looks.
the quality of the picture appealed to me. And so
Yeah.
when a Samsung TV 55-inch 4K smart TV went on sale, I was like, all right, let's get a Samsung this time around. And as we all know from the history of the show, I had a problem with the screen doing a flickering and flipping and flipping and flickering. And so I called and they said, well, you're covered under warranty. We'll put in a request. And I, end up dealing with this outfit out of Providence that repairs TVs and takes care of Samsung manufacturer, Samsung warranty jobs. And they were like, well, we think it's the screen, but Samsung won't let us change the screen until we change the board first because the board is cheaper. And so they came out and changed the board.
That's wonderful logic.
Yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I mean, basically Samsung's policy is, well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to. When you open up your big 55-inch TV, you got a big screen and a small board. That's basically all you have. Two parts. You got your big screen, your small board. And the board is the cheaper part. The screen's the more expensive part. So Samsung's standard policy is, is what's it doing? It does that. It does that. It does that. Okay, it sounds like a problem with the screen. We're going to change the cheaper part first, and then we're going to change the screen. It seems like no matter what the diagnostics are.
So it's like if you're having engine troubles, you go to the garage and they say, okay, yeah, I see the problem. Your engine is fucking blown, but we're going to change out the radiator.
No, it's more like the engine's blown. Let's get you a new light bulb for the headlight.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, of course. Did you ever talk to Dale about his headlight issue?
No, I have not.
Yeah, he had this headlight that went out on one of his vehicles. It might have been his Tahoe.
Do they have to change out the engine to fix it?
Well, no, they replaced the entire assembly.
Oh.
Not just the light bulb. For whatever reason, they decided that they had to replace the entire assembly. The whole reflector, the whole, like, why don't you replace the car?
Why didn't, is the light bulb not accessible for Dale to do it himself?
Well, for some reason it was under warranty. So I says, well, I'll just take it to the dealer and they'll replace it.
That way, I don't got to reach in,
Yeah, right. Get all greasy and all that shit.
I mean, it's so hard to find a light bulb way down here when you're way up here,
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean,
hey,
if it's covered under warranty, I'd take it to the dealer too, because sometimes jamming your hand in there and finding the damn thing and all this kind of bullshit, which bulb is the high beam and which is the low beam, sometimes that's not easy.
No, I
get that. Let the dealer do it. He does it all the time.
Well, let me tell you something about changing tail light bulbs. You have one tail light go out, and you go to the store, and the tail lights always come in packs of 2. And so I go there with my pack of 2 tail lights and my screwdriver, and I open up the enclosure for the one tail light, And I take the thing out, change the bulb, toss out the busted one, put in the good one, put it together, put the thing back in, test it, bulb works, job done. Wow, look at me being handy. And now I've got another bulb for the next time the bulb goes out. Well, where am I going to keep this where it won't get damaged? You know, obviously I should keep it in the car since it goes with the car. If I go put it on like my desk or in a box or in a drawer, I'm never going to find that bulb again. I may as well just throw it out if I'm going to do that. So, well, let's see. I don't want to put it in the well of the car there because I got a bunch of crap floating around there and I'm going to end up with a broken bulb and bits of glass down there. All right. Hey, there's this compartment here. I never use that compartment. Why don't I put it in there? Yeah, turn the thing. Spring comes out. Open up the compartment. And there's the leftover tail light from the last time I did this.
Perfect. So if they both go on at once, you're all set.
Exactly.
Excellent.
So now I have 2 spare tail lights.
Okay.
You know,
so I got a bulb for these lights. 60 watts. See how big that is?
yeah, okay.
Okay. And then I went back to this. You know, I actually need some more bulbs because the ceiling light also needs bulbs. So
Okay.
I went and got, well, you know, they could use 40-watt bulbs.
Okay, 40-watt bulb. Okay.
Okay, which one is the 40-watt bulb?
The one on the left?
Which would be the bigger one?
Well, my left, I was saying.
No, that's the 60-watt.
That's the 60-watt. Oh, so the 40 watts bigger.
Why?
Well,
I have no idea. And it's the same brand.
Well, it distracts from how it's not as bright, you see.
I have no idea. It's just, this is weird.
I got nothing for that. But back to Samsung's TV. So
Yes, we're right. We weren't distracted too much.
right. So I mean, basically, the repair guy basically knows that. Yeah, I'm changing the board because this is what Samsung says, and it's through their warranty, so we have to do it by their policies. But this isn't going to fix it. But the problem was temperamental, so they swapped the board, turn on the TV, it looks fine, and say, yeah, the problem's probably going to come back. So just let us know when it happens, and we'll order a screen, and then we'll change it.
Right.
Now, and they did that, and then when they came out and changed the screen, the replacement screen had a crack in it. All right, well, we'll be back with another screen. So then they get another screen, they change it. New screen works. The board that they swapped out before, they swapped it out for a bad board right off the bat, dead HDMI ports. So then they had to come out and replace the board yet again. So that was a board replacement, a screen replacement, a screen replacement, a board replacement. This one warranty repair where all they need to do is put a damn new screen in there was a 4-visit job. By the end of this outfit was like, hey, no offense, but we hope to never see you again. You know? So
Well, but then again, you have these outfits that make money doing the warranty work.
yeah, but they probably get
So
paid for the
you are
job.
a regular customer, normally they see a person once.
But they probably get paid for the job, not
Sure.
the number of visits or the hours on the job. Just it probably
So
flat.
they paid. Oh, so in other words, Samsung paid for a single visit, and it was actually 4.
Well,
so
well,
they
I'm
got-
saying I would expect it to be a flat rate for the whole job, but I don't know. For all I know, I could be wrong, and they could have just run up the tab with Samsung.
Right.
But this happened back in September.
Yeah.
This all happened, also known as less than a year ago. Now I happened to buy the TV in January of last year, which means that January of this year is when the 1-year warranty ran out. And last night, after the Dune and Bob show, I went out into the living room, watch a little TV, and I turn on the TV, and I gonna go see what's on Fox to see if Simpsons is on, which, surprise, it wasn't. Actually, technically, Simpsons was on. There was some special about O.J. Simpson. Wrong Simpson.
Oh, was it the missing interview?
I don't know. They were
You didn't
interviewing
watch it
him.
that long?
I
It's the interview where he describes the whole scene. It's like, you mean you did do it?
well, we all know he did it.
Exactly. But out of his mouth suggests that he did it.
He wrote a whole book about how he did it.
Sure.
You know, actually, the purpose of the book was, if I did it, this is how I would have done it. And it's like, yeah, right,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, I got it. Okay,
Are we um,
so,
Beavis and Butthead?
but
Uh-huh.
but before I flipped that on to find out that it was O.J. Simpson and not The Simpsons, it was basically on like the menu or on the HDMI or something, and so I go to set it to live TV, and the TV goes, well, this feature is not available at this time. I'm like, what do you mean this feature is not available at this time? And so of course this is because smart TVs are basically a computer.
Yeah.
Which means that I need to turn it off and turn it back on. The thing is that turning off a smart TV doesn't actually turn it off. It basically turns off the screen while the computer keeps on running in standby mode. And so that's not going to do it. So what do you have to do? You have to yank the plug out and plug it back in. And the plug is plugged into a power strip that's in a mess of wires inside a cubby buried behind a bunch of things that if I dig into there, I'm going to unplug all kinds of things by accident and mess up all kinds of wires. So the only way to really easily unplug and plug in this TV is to disconnect the power cord from the back of the TV and reconnect it, which it's designed to be able to do. So I'm not doing anything that's out of spec or whatever. So I reach behind the TV, I pull the cord out, no problem. TV's off. I reach back, I put the cord back in, and a big blue flash comes from the cord as I connect it. This is the part of the story I didn't tell Samsung, but I think it's irrelevant because it's not my fault. I didn't plug a bum power cord into it. I didn't, crank up the juice on the power in there. I just connected a cord that
to make it easier, I would get the smallest power strip that has a switch available and have it right behind the TV, so you can just flip the switch off.
Yeah,
and it's just the TV, not all that other stuff.
But still, there was some issue with the TV that caused this issue.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, right.
So I was like,
and how long was the plug out before you plugged it back in?
20 seconds.
Yeah, I would go at least 20. Yeah.
So it flashed as I plugged it back in. I'm like, what the fuck? I turn the TV on, and it turns on. I set it to live TV. Live TV is working now. Okay, the initial problem was fixed by unplugging it, plugging it back in. That's good.
Yeah.
I switch it to, I find out O.J. Simpson's talking. I don't care about O.J. Simpson. I want to watch The Simpsons. Oh, fuck this. Maybe we'll put on some episodes of This Old House or something. So I flipped HDMI 2 to put my Roku stick on. No device detected on HDMI 2. Okay, let's see if the cable box shows up on HDMI 1. HDMI 1, no cable box. Okay, let's turn on the PlayStation 4 and switch to HDMI 3. HDMI 3, no device. Okay, let's take one of these cords out. Let's take my computer and get the HDMI out there, plug in to the HDMI port. I detect that you've connected something to HDMI port 3. I'm going to automatically switch to HDMI port 3. There is no device on HDMI 3. It's like, wait, you detected I plugged something in, but now you're telling me you don't detect anything? So I called up Samsung, and Samsung told me, well, we're very sorry, but your warranty ran out in January. It only had a 1-year warranty. And I said, well, it just so happens that the board that is in that TV is less than a year old because it was replaced under warranty. So that should still be within the realm of a 1 year. And they say, well, no, it doesn't work that way. And that's when the cursing began. And,
ouch.
Well, yeah, because I ain't putting up with this shit. I mean, this TV.
Oh yeah, sure.
This TV's a year and 2 months old. I have a visit.
At this point, you had 4 visits from the repair guy, right?
Right. And now it's having problems yet again. and it's only 2 months out of warranty. And, you know, in my opinion, a warranty on a TV should be 5 years standard. You know, this is why if we actually had a Congress that represented the people, we'd have mandatory 5-year warranties on electronics, because it's ridiculous that you'd spend $500 on something and it's only guaranteed to work for 1 year. In what reality is that reasonable? In what reality is that reasonable?
And, kitchen appliances should last 10 to 12 years at least. Same thing.
I have a radio that was manufactured in 1942 in my living room. Now, yes, at that time, since it was manufactured, there was a lot of things run down, worn down about it. But when I paid for it and picked it up from the person who had it, if you plugged it in and turned it on, that damn radio still made sound and received in stations. From 1942. Why can't we get a TV that lasts longer than 2 years? What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Sure. Well, and this is probably in the early 70s. My dad had a powered sander, and the switch crapped out. And this was from Sears. So, well, we'll talk to Sears and see if they still carry the part. You know, this is kind of old. So I went to Sears with the model number and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we got one. No problem. Here you go. Yeah, that's from 1952. So 20 years later, they still had the parts. Do you think you'll have parts for that TV, say, 5 years from now?
No.
Seems unlikely.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
The standards and the quality have gone to shit.
Sure.
And everything, and we've let this happen.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
We basically we allow these businesses to just run these scams.
Essentially, we've gone to a throwaway society. You know, you don't fix VCRs anymore. Well, you don't buy VCRs either. You throw them away and you buy a new one, or a DVD player, or a Blu-ray player.
Yeah,
you throw it away and you buy a new one because, well, you know, it's newer technology anyway. You want the latest thing, right? The next TV you'll get will be 4K, right?
This one's 4K.
Oh, dang! That's right. It's only a year old.
Yes, and so I had to curse out the nice lady on the phone because she's trying to basically, you know, give me the shaft, and I'm like, oh hell, the fuck no! The board's less than a year old. This is fucking ridiculous. You are going to replace this TV, or we're going to have a situation here. And she's like, well, I'm sorry you're disappointed. I'm like, I'm sorry, bullshit. I don't want your fucking sympathy. I want you to fix this damn TV. Now, if you're not going to do it, get me to a supervisor. You know, you have two options. It's like, well, I'd be happy to transfer you to a supervisor, but I could offer you a one-time courtesy replacement. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, what's going to happen when this board breaks, though? And basically, replacements are warranted for 90 days. So basically, once this board is swapped out,
what you're doing is you're hoping when they replace the TV, they actually give you a different model, since the model you have is probably already gone.
Well, they're not replacing the TV; they're replacing they put in a service request to repair this TV.
Oh, so they're going to replace the board?
Yes.
Okay.
And here's the weird part.
Let me ask you this. So let's say they stuck to the guns and they said, well, unfortunately, you're going to have to replace the board and it's on you. How much would that have costed you?
I don't know, but I have a feeling at least 100, which I would not be happy about. And I would, you know, let's just say I would spend hours of my time badgering Samsung into defeat. I would not let this one go very easily.
Sure.
As it is, 6 months from now when this board breaks, I'm going to, Samsung's not going to give me a second time courtesy, and I am going to raise hell. This TV, I will get 10 years out of this TV. And if it means showing up on Samsung's front steps,
right.
anything I say that suggests some kind of a violence could probably get me in trouble. So
right. Well, so
peacefully
we don't have
with
to go
a
there.
sign.
So we have a LG dishwasher in our beach house,
Okay.
and it's probably 5 years old or so, and it crapped out. We called service, and of course, this type of thing, it takes 2 trips anyway. One to look at it, give you the estimate, and then the next trip with the parts.
Right.
You know, you can't do that thing in one trip. I don't know why.
No, of course not.
But it just can't happen. Anyway, so he gave us the estimate, and I can't remember exactly, but it's probably like $180, and a new one costs $500. So there's that value call. Do you put the money in this one, or do you buy a new one? You know, so we opted to repair it.
Okay.
Although my wife hates that dishwasher, but to me, hey, it's a beach house. We don't spend a ton of time there. Let's just live with it. I mean, it works. You know,
What'd she hate about it then?
Because it's LG.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't see the problem here.
Yeah, see, neither do I. See, you're getting it.
She has a problem with LG in general, and even though this is a perfectly fine dishwasher that works perfectly fine.
We had some blurps. Was that Venison calling it or something?
Well, Venison did tweet that he'll be there in a few guys smoke outside, although I think he blurped that a while ago. Why are we both whooping though? Because I think they're coming through on your end, my end. I don't see him trying to call though.
Oh well. Anyway, let's finish our conversation and see if anything happens.
All right. So, anyways, yeah. So that's the TV issue, and that just so they put in the service request as a courtesy, but they no longer send service requests to the company based out of Providence that repaired it last time. And the nearest place they could get to service the TV is coming out of Long Island, New York.
What?
Yeah.
What happened to the guy in Providence?
I don't know. They're still in business. They still have a website, but Samsung's not using them anymore. Because I called back and I'm like, we got a problem here. You scheduled me for a repair shop out of Long Island. Oh, that's no problem. It's for a house visit. So it's, I'm like, yeah, it's a problem because I got to coordinate when they come out here. And if someone's coming out here 3 hours one way and then 3 hours back, that's going to limit the available times that they have to work on this TV. And if it turns into a multiple visit situation, they're going to hate the fact that I'm making them drive 6 hours every day. I think this is a problem. Oh my gosh. It looks like every time Venison tries a call, it doesn't tell me he's trying to call, and then it tells me when the call fails and makes a sound. Oh, and all of a sudden he's on the line as if by magic.
Hello, Venison.
And he's only come out of the left speaker.
Yeah, okay. Fix your site much lately?
Hey, Mr. Ohio.
Tell me about it. Oh my God. I'm in Ohio. I can't believe this.
You order a pizza yet?
Not a pizzeria type one yet. Gotta figure out which one to try. So far we just had these store boughts.
Do you go into like Yelp to look at customer reviews? Not that anybody in Ohio is going to know anything about pizza.
Tell me about it.
I am from Ohio, by the way.
I feel for you.
So
hey, I was little. I left after the first grade. So, of course, then again, I was in the Washington D.C. area, so that might make me crazy.
So now, Venison, have you registered to vote?
Are you kidding? I still gotta get my IDs and all like that first.
You got to register to vote. You're in a swing state now. Your vote really counts now.
Swing it to the
man.
left.
Yeah, something like that. But we do have the normal store, brand, commercial brand pizzerias here. Like your Papa John's, Little Caesars. So far, everything except Domino's. I haven't seen Domino's show up yet. But everything else is here.
Is
Pizza.
Domino's any good?
Is what?
Is Domino's any good?
It's Domino's.
Yeah.
Domino's.
So far,
Domino's.
except
That's
one
what-
time. Except one time, every single pizza I've ever gotten from Domino's was burnt.
Ugh.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Oh, Dune writes in, I hope Brian gets that dishwasher taken care of before I get there. I plan on needing lots of clean glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, that we fixed the dishwasher a year ago.
Oh, there you go. You're all set,
No,
Dune.
it's fine. Yeah.
We're all set for the party house.
Yeah.
Wish this was the party house.
The party house. Yeah, because Dune's going to... Brian has been generous enough to put Dune up in the beach house when Dune's out visiting the area next time. And as we all know, Brian's beach house is going to be the party house. And I just need to find the right party house music. Oh, darn. Where is it? Oh, it should be.
I wish this was a party house. This house is like, oh my God, the rules are strict. But when you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice.
The
Oh,
rules are...
boy, oh boy.
Wait, what's the deal with the rules being strict?
Well, whoa,
None of this?
it's a little loud.
Really? That's loud?
Okay, well, here it is. Well,
It wasn't loud for
seems like-
me.
Yeah, that's weird. Skype
Oh,
Skype
well.
is weird.
Oh well. Anyway, so far, okay, the dude, has some physical attributes like sleep apnea, stress, and yeah, temper. Mostly because of the wife, but
Oh, you're
yeah,
living
so
with
I
a married couple?
yeah.
And the wife must be thrilled about this.
All she knew about it, so it was expected, but there were some things I had to be concerned with here, and the fact that the wife is a clean freak OCD to the max.
So,
To give,
so
to
you
be an idea,
you have to be a
give you-
polite house guest is what's going on here.
very polite.
So the rules
Very-
come from the wife?
Brian, you're familiar with this.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'm just
per-
double checking, right?
Yeah. Oh, and here he is. Let's see. Now, in order to have this set up so that he can hear.
You can always go over there.
Huh?
Always put it right over there.
Well, that too. But let's see.
You got a new nickname. Till Tuesday.
Till Tuesday.
Till
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Meaning.
Voice is Carrie.
What?
Okay. Well, while they set their things up over there, let's. You know what? This week we do have to continue the story from last week, which is the whole Gators possible house buying adventure. And
Yeah.
there's been a new chapter this week because last week I had basically gone there and was presented with a bunch of legal documents and paperwork,
What is?
initial
But then they
hearings.
can't hear you.
What's that?
Can't hear me. Oh.
I hear him.
Oh, for now. When he goes over the other side of the room to listen over there.
I have a microphone over there, but
Now let's see how well this works.
Well, while you sort that out, I'm going to tell this story. So, yeah, basically, to recap last week, I went over to the house to make the official offer, signed a bunch of documents, signed a bunch of papers, got to the last paper, and there were some fees that I was not aware about that suddenly were being disclosed to me. And voices are carrying. And I decided.
Way delayed.
I know.
Okay.
And we'll just turn that down for now and let them sort that out. And we'll turn it back up after the story. So decided not to sign the papers because I was like, well, this is getting to be a little more fees than I was expecting, and I don't know that I can afford this all. And so Kristen was upset when I kind of told her, yeah, we're not doing this now. It's too soon. Not ready to do this. And she was, at her parents' house helping them dog sit, and they hadn't left town yet because they're getting the flight the next morning. And Chris's parents are like, oh, what's wrong? And she's like, well, this isn't going to work out at the house. Other fees came up, and he can't handle it. We can help out with fees. And so she kind of let me know when I called later that night, see how she's doing. It's like, well, they've offered to help us out. And I'm like, well, I mean, if we need to, that's an option. And then also the finance guy reaches out to me and goes, hey, look, I know it was overwhelming, but if you do want to ask more questions, want to talk about this more, I'm over here. And so I'm like, all right. So I talked to the finance guy. It turns out like the mortgage insurance, you can include that in with the closing costs and ask that to be part of the credit that the seller brings to the table. And so that's one less thing I need to worry about. And I was already prepared for paying for the inspection and appraisal. And so that kind of brought me back to where I was before, plus the security of Kristen's parents can help us out if we need to. And so I was like, all right, maybe I backed out too easily. And so I made another appointment to sign the papers. But at that point, Storm was coming in. So I e-signed some documents, looked over it. Everything looked good. Got that all sorted out. And things proceeded to move forward. Offer was accepted. Deposit was paid. And the next step was you need to schedule a house inspection. You want to know what you're getting yourself into before you get in there and finalize everything. So we'll turn this fader back up in case anyone wants to jump in. Wow, there's not room sound. Did they all right. Well, anyways.
Hello, Venison.
Venison, you still there? No.
Faintly. Jesse?
I think I heard him asking if we can hear him. I think that's what that was. No. There's some sounds very faint that I think I could hear, but they might
go to the other room.
They might be the voices in my head, actually.
Well, I'm hearing them too. So, of course, then again, we have that connection that we can't explain.
The voices in my head have a way of, being heard by others. They're,
yeah.
There's some weird stuff going on in my head, man. So while they sort that out, we'll go ahead and continue on. And so, yeah, I set up a home inspection and scheduled that for today at noon and worked from home today. And, hey, there's a storm coming in, which means I get to work from home again tomorrow. So things are just working out great for Gators. And so at noon, took a drive over to the house and proceeded to find out all the reasons this house sucks. Oh my God, do home inspections suck? I almost wonder if I'd be better off just ignorantly buying a piece of crap. Because by the end of a home inspection, you feel like you found the worst house ever. I mean, really, it is.
So why don't you list the issues that it came up with?
Well, here's.
Have you gotten the final report?
Yeah, I have the report.
Okay.
And we're gonna, so it starts with small things like, now the seller claims that the roof is new, just did it himself, stripped the old roof, put up a new roof, and now I'm looping back. Okay, and now I'm not. Cool. Now we look
that was weird. Okay.
They're trying to fix their settings, and
that's on their side.
Yeah, that's on their side. That was coming from Skype. So now you look at the roof though, and you can kind of see that the edge of the roof is there's like the shingles are like going up and over something towards the edges. Like They shingled over a roof, but on the edges it's not quite all the way. So you kind of see. But does that mean that they didn't strip the roof? I don't know. They say they stripped the roof, and like I said, when we were investigating this house, we actually went to the town office to pull all the permits that were taken out for this house, and there are no permits for the work that was done recently. And I do know that the house last sold in December for a lot less than they're asking now. So I know that a flipper bought this house in December, fixed it up a bit to make it look pretty, and now has put it back on the market. And
there's no permits.
And there's no permits.
Really?
Permits, nada. And when I asked the real estate agent about that, the real estate agent goes, I can't imagine they do work without a permit, something major like a roof. That'll come out in the home inspection. And I'm like, I don't know. Is this a red flag? Should I be worried about this? And I'm looping back again. So that's not going to work. But they're sorting that out.
Is it a red flag? Yes. But I think at this point, if you back out, you may lose a deposit.
Oh, no.
And
I won't lose
other things.
No. If I don't like what comes out in the inspection, I can back out and get the deposit back. I've been told. It's after.
Have you paid any loan fees and stuff like that yet?
The only thing I paid is a $1,000 deposit that I'm told I can get back if I back out because I don't like. But I did pay $735 for a house inspection, so I'm out that.
Sure.
But that's the risk you enter into when you make an offer on a house and then do a house inspection.
Okay, so now the other side, let's say you still want it anyway. You've got all of these areas which you can use to sue the guy.
No, there's no suing.
True, there is.
Well,
if he doesn't have the proper permits, and there was a problem that he did not disclose, you can sue him.
If I buy the house, but I think this is why you do a home inspection, because you basically say you're buying what you see. I mean, the town could decide that there's evidence that he did work without a permit that you're supposed to have a permit for and fine him. But I don't think I'm in a position to bring charges on this or do anything about this. But
some things that aren't disclosed you can sue.
Well,
particularly if something comes up that didn't show up on a home inspection, because a home inspection doesn't necessarily find all problems.
But what is things you can sue for, and what are things that you're responsible to do your due diligence? Because part of this.
Okay, so let's just an example. I'll pull an example for you.
Part of this process is that I have 10 days to do whatever inspecting or investigating that I want to do before we enter into a final agreement. So it's kind of on me to do discovery.
Well, you do what you can, but for example, let's say the home inspection didn't cover, it didn't reveal any water damage. And let's say 6 months after you've closed on the place, you find, holy shit, there's a lot of water damage here that the home inspector missed. Yes, we went through everything, and this guy didn't disclose it, and he should have. That's where you can sue him.
And that's probably getting into a dicey area because,
Well, I mean, the sucky part is then you'd have to hire a lawyer.
Right. But then it's also on, well, if you didn't discover water damage, then did you really do your due diligence on, what's on you to discover and what is legally required?
This guy I knew had an issue actually with water damage that was discovered after everything in the basement, and he had evidence to show that the seller knew about it.
There you go. Like, there's a game that's I've noticed is played here, because there was a paperwork, there was a form that I signed that's a standard state of Massachusetts form that the seller has no knowledge of any lead paint in the property. And it's worded very carefully that the seller has no knowledge of lead paint. Now, this house is from 1938. There's a good chance that underneath layers of paint, there's lead paint in this property.
As long as he didn't actually
discover it,
discover it by having paint tested, then and that's kind of a standard deal.
Right.
Like, for example, if you don't test for asbestos, then you don't have to disclose it.
Right. And that's
it's
the same
thing.
And it's the same thing. Like, as long as I don't test for any lead and don't discover lead, I don't have to report anything. But if I did decide I want to know if there's lead paint in here and I test, that's going to go on the record, and I'm obligated to disclose that to anyone. And so now suddenly I inherited, now I have a house that I bought as no known lead that became known lead. Which kind of makes one basically make the decision: do I want to know about this and resolve it?
So at
or
this
do I
point,
want
you
to
would
continue?
say,
or is ignorance bliss? You know?
right. So you'd have to decide whether you want to, before the closing, as part of your due diligence, do you want to test for lead? Do you want to test for asbestos? Do you want to test for what the hell is the gas? The radon gas, right?
I'm doing radon testing because that
so
seems to be something.
So if you do them all and they all come up negative, then you go, well, okay, they're all negative, so
yeah,
that's not going to be a problem.
Well, I'm only doing the radon testing. I'm not doing lead or asbestos testing, and because I'm not having any kids and I don't eat paint chips off walls, so if it's going to sit there underneath layers of paint, it's perfectly fine, not harming me.
Does the place have popcorn ceilings?
No.
Okay.
Ceilings are redone
the
recently.
older popcorn ceilings contained asbestos.
Now,
there you go. Oh, yeah, that looks fine. I'm not going to test that, which is okay.
Well, here's the thing.
But as the paint kind of degrades or whatever that's on the popcorn ceiling, and it starts, shall we say, raining
asbestos on you,
and asbestos on you, then yeah, that would be bad.
That would be bad. No, now there was one and only one permit on file for this house in the town office.
Okay.
And well, there was actually two permits. One was some kind of a waiver to run a business out of the building that someone filed. So that has nothing to do with anything that is of any interest to me.
The flipper took that one out, or is that the prior owner?
A prior owner. I at some point, some years ago. And the one and only actual building permit that was on file for this house was from 1979, I believe, for putting in an asbestos roof. So there was an asbestos roof on this house in 1979, and I guess in through the 80s. Or 1977, I don't know, some point in the late 70s, they put in an asbestos roof. And that's when I asked the question, what's the deal with this new roof? And that's when they go, well, the seller says that they stripped the roof. And I'm like, okay, where's the permit for that, though? And where's the permit for asbestos removal? But then again, who knows? Who knows if that roof? Who knows if that roof was? All right, Venison tried to call back. For some reason, Venison's calls don't come through to me anymore. But
maybe it hasn't reconfigured itself for Ohio yet.
Well, that was happening in Jersey too the last few weeks. Remember, he'd always have to have me call him. So
it was just a theory.
Reach is currently unavailable.
All right. Well, anyways, so
it was just it was a theory. So yeah, you shot it down. That's fine.
So I mean, who knows?
Part,
So who knows if the asbestos roof, how long that was there, or if it's still sitting there underneath the current roof, and if the seller's even telling the truth about, oh yeah, we stripped out the old roof and put in a new roof. I don't know what they did. But here's the thing so the home inspection starts, and there's a lot of things that you kind of like, well, we'll put together a laundry list of things that we want fixed and see if they say yes to some and no to others. And, no matter what they find, I've seen this house. I can be comfortable in this house. I mean, there's things like the porch, the front porch has railings that aren't built to code, which would be a safety issue if you had kids there. But I don't have kids, not a big deal. Although the thing is, a lot of these issues would be issues if you're doing FHA, which I'm not doing FHA. But one thing that occurs to me is these are going to be an issue if I want to sell the place someday. These are things I
Right.
probably will want to take care of over the course of owning the house.
So it's
that-
good to put them on a checklist.
Yeah.
Even if you say, yeah, we're going through with the house, these are the issues that I will want to fix if I don't get that seller to fix.
Right. Or they're going to be, or it's going to make it harder for me to sell the house, and I'm going to deal with that as a seller. And like, you know, like, so there's like a railing to the side stairs up to the side door that basically looks like crap. Was a very crap shit job put together.
Lovely.
And Venison's trying to call again, and so let's see if he picks up this time. And so that would need to be replaced, but that to me was like, well, that's mostly cosmetic. I could live with that for a while. And maybe,
He's calling you to others.
okay.
Hello?
You know,
Okay,
what they
is that
find.
better?
I've seen this house.
You can hear us, right?
Yeah, I also heard myself in the background.
Didn't hear a hoot yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. This is working now.
What's going on with this mess?
I don't know.
We're here.
All right. So, you guys are following along with the house inspection.
Well, we're
a bit in
trying
peace.
to.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
so
there we go.
So, you know, he's pointing out all these little things, and I'm like taking note of these little things because I figure I could probably get the seller to take care of some of these things, or heck, I could use these to knock down the price. There's a wall plate on one of the wall, a wall outlet on one of the walls that the whole wall is cut away around it, like bigger than the plate is, and it's like, yeah, let's get that taken care of. The framing around the front door and the side door are not really done very well, and probably are not, you know, properly insulated and put in, so those should be touched up.
Absolutely.
You know, you see lots of little things here and there, and you start to, and one of the things is that the whole downstairs is pretty much an open downstairs. Like, he took a bunch of walls out to the downstairs, which is nice to have this open floor plan and plenty of room to walk in the downstairs. But you got like this column in the middle of the Eden kitchen and dining room area, which is where the chimney's coming through. And that's okay. It's a column on a floor. That's fine. But then close to the wall, you got the water pipes coming up from the floor and up along into the ceiling, and they're just wrapped in this like foam insulation, and it's just these pipes running through your front floor, and it's close to the wall. So it's like, shouldn't they have built a little column or something around that to hide that? I mean, what do you do?
Soffit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Sure.
what am I supposed to do with this? And the real estate agent said, well, you can wrap some garland around it around Christmas time.
Oh, good one.
So,
And he's working for you, baby.
yeah, thank you.
You know, it depends on if you're using an FHA loan also, because they have an FHA loan officer come out and then re-inspect your house again.
Yeah.
So even though you get an inspector of your own, which is going to be the best one in your area, of course, you're going to spend the money there. But like when we bought this house 2 years ago, I'm Chris, by the way.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, venison stew sitting next to me in my rec room downstairs on the other half of my man cave. So we just set him up on a table, basically. So we're good to go.
Yeah, things are getting confused here a little bit.
So, yeah, his nickname is now Caps Lock. Okay, let him hear about it.
Shut up.
I thought that was my nickname.
Yeah, he was like, "Why isn't this working?" And it says right in there, "Is your Caps Lock?" Oh, shh.
And now
So-
I am coming in under venison, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Somehow or another, Nick was telling me that somehow I was signing in onto BRN. I was like, what? That's impossible.
I don't know, but
he had a little case of Sybil going on. So we fixed that now.
there we go.
Getting back to home inspections and stuff like that, we have a split ranch, and the front little slab porch that's only about as wide as the shutters around the front door then has a stoop, and it's just a slab, and then it's on cinder blocks. Well, all of those cinder blocks were like rotten. Like you could put your arm in the cinder blocks. That's how bad they were.
Ooh.
And then because there was 36 inches on one side of the slab going down toward the driveway, and there's a little pit flower bed area, it was more than 36 inches. We expected that to have a rail because it's OSHA kind of thing.
Right.
And cinder blocks should have been fixed because that's like going to lose the slab any minute. And then the fact that our one quarter of our 2-car garage was buckled so that one of the garage doors was up 3 inches and couldn't close all the way because the floor was there. So we thought that were going to be problems, but the FHA inspector just said, no problem. So we ended up buying it. So you got to beware.
Yeah. And one thing that gives me a little leniency on this is that I'm not doing an FHA, so I don't have to worry about meeting FHA requirements. But
right, they're usually a little stricter.
Right. So I have a little leeway there that I don't have to worry about that. But
Good.
It is something I want to have on my radar because if I'm ever going to sell this house,
because the next buyer may be FHA, and that would be a requirement.
And then they'd be starting to make a list of demands to me. That is on my radar, but it's not an immediate concern. These little things I could let slide and fix them up later because not FHA.
The way I look at it is, let's say you're in a house and you're fixing something up for yourself. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
When you're trying to move and you find you're fixing up something for the other guy, well, that really sucks.
It's possible.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Basically, this house was bought in December by a flipper who did the cheapest job of making it look shiny. And it's showing in certain ways. Now, it looks decent enough to live in, and I could be comfortable there, but it is becoming more and more apparent that this guy did things on the cheap. Like, redid the roof that he supposedly stripped, which I'm not even so sure that without a permit. The light fixtures in the upstairs are all pull string. Each room has one and only one power outlet.
Pull string? Wow, that's great. What a feature.
The downstairs has all the light fixtures are ceiling fans that are also pull string, but they come with wireless remote controls that go into mounts on the wall, thus sparing them the issue of wiring and electric work. But upstairs is all pull strings. You look at some of the paint jobs that was done, and you can kind of see that like edges look sloppy. It wasn't done to a high standard. The plumbing in the basement is a little questionable. Some of the pipes are angled the wrong way, so things might back up easily if you start having problems there. Certain things are not done to normal standards. So these are little things that it's like, yeah, I can live with these things, and I'm going to try to ask the seller to deal with some of these things, and hopefully some of these things will be dealt with, or I get a credit to, here, take some money and shut up and finish this deal. And then he sets up his ladder to go and check out the attic. And he goes up there, and he looks around, and he comes down, and he goes, this place had a fire. And I'm like, what? And go take a look. I go up the ladder, and along one side of the attic area up there, all the wood is charred and blackened. And the real estate agent's like, why was that not disclosed? Like, that's the type of thing that you should be disclosing. And then it's a question of, well, did the seller even know about this? And I'm like, well, keep in mind, the seller claims that they stripped and redid the roof. So either the seller didn't strip and redo the roof, lied to us about that, and never popped their head in the attic, or the seller did strip and redo the roof, knows about the charred wood and fire that was in the attic, and did not disclose that. So which lie is it?
So you could ask the seller directly. Now, when you say you replaced the entire roof and took off the old roof, did you personally do it, or did you have a contractor do it for you?
Yeah, either way.
And by the way, who took out that permit?
There was no permit. I'm asking a question I already know the answer of.
You can ask the question. Ask the questions. That's not insulting. Right?
Yeah. Well, anyways, my real estate agent is going back to the seller with some questions.
So did you have an affair with a porn star? Hey, it was just a question.
It was just a question.
Right.
So, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. And we don't know what that means. And that means we basically want to have a contractor come out, take a look at this, and give us their estimate of what, is this something to be concerned about? Or do we have any structural issues with this? Or is this just, some well-aged charred wood that's going to stay put in place and has got no problem? In
fact, I was watching a renovation show on HGTV, and they came across some charred wood up in the attic, and they did an inspection, and they says, "Hey, it's okay." Yeah. And hopefully, when they turn it over to their the homeowner, that they disclosed it. I mean, because it's on TV.
I mean, it looks like it's just the wood was blackened and it was still structurally sound and left there. And in my mind, if someone says, "Hey, it's safe," it's attic. I don't need the attic to look pretty. Sure. There's no floor up there. It's just space that has
even
insulation.
If you did something where you wanted to use the attic, you would put up, say, drywall or insulation or whatever, and that would be all covered up. I mean, because it didn't smell like it was recently burned, right?
No. I mean, I don't know when that happened, and that could have been like that for years and years,
decades,
for all I know.
Sure.
Decades even, yeah. So, I mean, but then the other thing I got to keep in mind is this bothers me as a buyer that I'm looking into this. This is something I got to deal with as a seller as well. Now, I think Skype went quiet a while ago because even the background sound got lost. So if Venison and Chris are trying to talk to us, my apologies that you're not coming through. So I don't know.
Oh, we should be coming through. I just muted the mic of discussing other things.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure. So yeah, that's where we're at now. I tell you, nothing beats up your confidence in your decision like a home inspection to point out every little flaw in this place that you decided is going to be your new slice of heaven.
Right. On my house.
Oh God! This house looked good, and we brought an inspection. Your house,
you left it in an uproar.
His house looks really good from 2 blocks away.
Whoever brings an inspector in your house is going to walk away. Well, they're not going to walk away. They're going to be carried away in a stretcher after the heart attack.
Right. Oh. Well, Venison will take the house back.
You know the cartoon reactions of a horror when they just like lean back and shudder? That's what the inspector's going to be like.
Yeah. It's going to be like that episode of How I Met Your Mother. The good news is I found enough problems in one room alone that you're not going to want to buy this house and we can end early here.
I truly believe that they're going to demo the house.
Well, or gut it, if it's got good bones.
Yeah, look, that's the gut by taking all that stuff out of it. They're going to need a big-ass one of those, truck dumpsters.
Yeah, they've done that to a couple of houses around here that were, like, really bad. They've gutted them down to the frame, and then from that frame rebuilt a nice, pretty house.
You could do that.
And top dollar for it, too.
In California, what they do is they'll gut the house and leave a single wall standing. Okay? And then they can call it a renovation, and it doesn't reset the taxes.
Right.
Because California stick to the old taxes going way back. I mean, you could have one house where the guy's paying $400 a year for property tax, and the next door neighbor could be paying $10,000 a year.
Wow.
Selling point.
They don't like.
No. See, that it resets when it sells. So if you're just renovating the house, you can tear it down again to one wall standing, and that doesn't get reset. If you would demolish the house and rebuild it, then you've got to reset.
But when you sell the house, it's a reset. It's a reset.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, wait till you see the attic. Oh.
So,
the critters got in there and tore up all the paperwork that was left.
Ooh.
Boxes, books, magazines, comic books, just shredded them all over the place.
Oh, man.
Now, which one are you going to put to view the servers in that plot?
I don't know.
So Venice, so you didn't bring those comic books to Ohio?
Oh, I wish I could have.
What?
My comic books. I wish I could have, man, because I had some comics in there from way back in 1968.
They were demolished, though.
Not all of them.
Then what did you think?
Because
We forgot them?
combination of that, plus there's also time.
Well, those you should have brought to a comic book shop and see what money you could have gotten for them years ago.
Yeah,
Well, I looked them up.
it didn't go as planned.
Ah,
We'll just
Yeah.
leave it at that.
things rarely do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to call tomorrow and see what can be done with this. I, left behind there because of all other things that were things didn't go well as planned. I had the Collins R390 that was still left there. Then we'll try and get somebody to store it, to take it and store it.
The
Yeah, it
what?
was a complete failure of communication here. We left 5 o'clock in the morning, drove a U-Haul from here. We were supposed to be there about 2 o'clock. We got there we were supposed to be there about 1. We got there about 2:30. It was snowing like animals.
Oof.
And we got there and we found out that he wasn't packed. He was all alone and no one came to help him. So we actually spent the next 12 hours packing him. We were supposed to leave at 4:30 p.m. to get back here at 2:30 a.m. Thursday morning. We left at 4:30 a.m. there, got back here through 2:30 p.m. Thursday with no sleep. So we were toast.
Yeah.
So forgetting a few things here and there, gotta go. We're leaving.
Pack it up. We're going.
Well, also, so much time to be spent in supervising and all like that. I didn't get a chance to go upstairs and finish packing the rest of the stuff.
So
It was a mess.
Well,
there was only 2 of us and him, so it was
well,
not fun.
well, if there's anything to find comfort in here, someday someone's going to be cleaning out that house, and they're going to come across a thermos. Also known as Ground Zero.
The cream of mushroom soup.
Let me just say,
The cream of mushroom soup. Oh my god.
Medicine lost a thermos of cream of mushroom soup that apparently was. What's the story behind this now? I don't remember the backstory, but I remember there's something evil brewing there.
Yeah, there was one time, somebody opened it during the 80s. And, it was left back in the late 60s, early 70s.
Where
and somebody
was it?
It was in the basement. And, and they brought the thermos out, and I said, don't open it. Don't open it. And he's like, I want to open it. Take it outside.
it was an Ace Ventura. Do not go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all we saw him take the thermos outside, and he unscrewed it, took the lid off, and did one of these,
Did a
and
little whip.
instantly,
Dropped
all within a split second, he went in with, bam, dropped to his knees,
Wow.
and almost vomited.
Almost.
Dang.
So that
And then slowly screwed the cover back on.
and the thermos is still somewhere hanging around that house.
Inside or outside?
Inside, somewhere,
Why would he bring it back into the house?
there was a new civilization brewing.
I guess.
Well,
Or
You know-
sarin gas.
my dad has a college story involving cream spinach.
Yeah, it's already gross.
Yes, it's already gross, but just wait till you hear how the story goes. This is one of these
Sure.
stories that's a series of stories revolving around a container of cream spinach. So my dad had a roommate in college who went home for a break or something, and his parents made him a nice dish of cream spinach, which was a dish that he liked. He's a bit weird. And he ate some cream spinach, and there was some left over. And being that his parents are like, we don't want this stuff hanging around the house. As I understand it, it was in a pressure cooker. and they put the lid on it and screwed it on there and said, well, here you go. Bring it with you to college, and you can finish the rest of it for a snack.
MP3 too small.
Throws it in the car, drives back to Scranton, gets into the dorm room, takes this thing, puts it up on the shelf of the closet, forgets about it. So at some point,
Love sound clips.
he's going through the closet, and he comes across this pressure cooker with spinach, and whoa, that's ripe. So he became aware of the fact that he had this lethal thing in his
Concoction.
closet.
Yeah.
And so at some point there was a party going on and some drankins happening, and I don't know, someone's claiming to have an iron stomach, and like, yeah, no,
Oh no! I see where this is going. Jesus, I'm running.
and no, I never puke. No, I could handle. We got something for you that the stench is gonna just. I was like, I could handle anything. So of course bets are being made, money's exchanging hands.
Dang, that's hardcore.
The pressure cooker gets brought out of the closet, take it outside, takes the lid off of it. It's steaming at this point. And the guy leans over, takes a big old whiff of the rotten cream spinach, immediately starts puking right outside, right next to this thing. And,
He never pukes.
no, this was a puker.
Grotesque.
And so bets were completed, money changed hands. They put the lid back on it, put it back in the closet.
Put it back in the closet?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes.
Hey, yes, we have a great batch of botulism here.
We never know when this is going to come in handy. And boy, is this going to come in handy, because now we go to the next chapter of the story when a couple of clowns from across the hall from my dad and his roommate decided that we got a great idea for a prank. Let's take a can of shaving cream, poke a hole in it, put our thumb over it, knock on the door, and when they open the door, we toss it in their room, and shaving cream goes everywhere. And it went into my dad's closet and got shaving cream all over his clean clothes. He had just done laundry that day, and they took one look at them and said, "We're gonna get you for this." And they went back into their room and stayed up the whole night waiting for some kind of revenge of some sort, whereas my dad and his roommate cleaned themselves up and went to bed. Next day during classes, catch them between classes in the quad or whatever. Tonight's the night. We're going to get back at you tonight. That night, my dad, roommate, go to sleep. They stay up all night waiting for revenge, thinking, oh my God, what are they going to do to us? Nothing happens. This is the part of the story that my responsible dad shares for, sometimes the best revenge is someone thinking that you're going to retaliate. And I'm like, yeah, but we all know what happened the third night. The next night, they say nothing and start the prep. So prep one is a piece of rope, because you tie a piece of rope around their doorknob. You tie the other end of the rope around the doorknob of the door across the hall. The doors open inward into the room. So they've essentially locked them into their room. Step two, grab a good old LP, take the LP out of the album cover, and you now have something that is open on one side and closed on the other three sides. Step three, stuff said album cover with rotten cream spinach. Step four, slide the open end underneath the door of the victims. Step five, step on the album cover. And they proceeded to spray cream spinach all through the inside of these poor people's rooms. They hear some rustling. What the fuck? And next thing you know, that they're frantically trying to open the door. A door won't open. They jumped out the window.
How many stories up were they on the ground level?
They must have been ground level. I don't know. Close enough to ground they could jump out the window, but they went out the window. And so,
well, I was in a high rise and I was on the 7th floor, so there wouldn't be any place to go.
Judging by
and the windows, I don't think the windows would open.
You would have jumped right through that window, judging by how badly this was described.
Following the chair that went opened the window.
Yeah. So, as I understand it, I believe the story ends with the school year came to an end, and my dad's roommate brought the pressure cooker of cream spinach home with him, and left it in the sink with the dirty dishes. And apparently, his dad comes to the kitchen and it's like, "What's that? That I haven't seen that in months." Takes a look at it, opens up the lid, closes the lid. They were in a high rise. I think he took it out to the balcony and just let it loose over the edge of the balcony. And that's where
that's where you hope that he had the dumpster view.
Yeah. That's where our story ends, and the cream spinach was never seen or heard from again. Although someone has a story about the god-awful cream spinach that landed on me one day when I was standing outside this high-rise.
That's gross.
Yeah.
What's he talking about?
Oh, come on. This is right up there with your cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah, at least we didn't get any on you.
They had it coming to them. They had it coming to them.
You know, it's hard to top a story like that. That's for damn sure.
But by the way, I do have to say that I don't know what album cover was used, but I do know my dad has a copy of Ted Nugent, Cat Scratch Fever, that's missing the cover. So
so there's a good bet that
my theory is it was Cat Scratch Fever that they stuffed the cream spinach into. That's my theory.
How do we top that story? I mean, there's just no possible way.
No. That's my dad's told that story many times. There's not much of a topper to that one. That's usually the encore right there.
I mean, we were going to talk about Starbucks. That sounds boring by comparison.
Yeah, Brian went to
McDonald's story. I think that's boring too. We should have saved that one for the end.
Yeah, well, my McDonald's story is more of a jackass story.
Sure.
And we could still tell this because I live in Massachusetts, the home of massholes, and yeah. And what's a masshole? Well, try driving here and you'll find out.
Is it the guy that has a bigger vehicle?
Well, that would be the guy that was behind me that I thought was going to, end up. Well, all right. So after the house inspection, I needed some comfort food, so I drove myself to McDonald's, and I got me a. They had those like buttermilk crispy chicken strips that are better than chicken nuggets, and I got me some of those, and. So now there is a all right. So this here is the road, okay, and over here is the McDonald's, and over here is another road, and of course over here.
Look at this artistry; it's fantastic.
And
the happy corner.
Yeah. Yeah, no. This is where the traffic signal is at this intersection here, and so now I'm driving the blue car, so I'm coming out of McDonald's, and once again, as we detailed on the Dune and Bob show, Gators does not make left turns at stop signs onto busy streets. So I made the right and made another right, made another right. Made another right, and there's a traffic signal here as well, and I made the left. This is how I live my life.
As a UPS driver.
Yeah. If it's good enough for UPS, and keep in mind, UPS has the best hold music, so we may as well drive like them.
That's right.
Now there
right
is
turns only.
Now,
except for a traffic light.
Now over here. At this corner here, we got a gas station, And we don't have that kind of gas stations on the East Coast, but in honor of people that might be associated with them, we'll go ahead and just put that as the international symbol for a gas station. And at the gas station, let's say there's also another car there that is kind of up here that needs to make the left turn to go down here. But I don't know about that car. Why would I know about that car? I'm over here. And over here coming this way is a truck that wants to make a left turn. Now, this light is green. So I got the good old right-of-way on a green light here. And they are at a stop sign trying to make a left. And this here is why I don't make lefts at stop signs. So I come here. Green light is green, so I got the right of way. So I make a turn. Now, as I'm making a turn, I notice that a truck is coming right at me from here, making a left. I'm like, holy Christ, that truck's close to me. Was that truck trying to make the left without even checking what I was doing? So I look up in my rearview mirror, and I see a truck right on my ass. And I'm like, okay, truck missed me. Keep going. Definitely don't want to slow down. All right, so I'm going. And this asshole in the gas station has to take a major shit. Major shit. The kind of shit that's like, I don't need to look for traffic. Because there's cars at this red light. Since the light's green for me, light's red for all these people. So you got cars here, and you got cars here that were nice enough to leave an opening for this car. So this car kind of just decides, I'm going for it, and pulls out right in front of me. Mind you, I got a big-ass truck right on my tail. So
you were in a car and truck sandwich.
Yes.
You were the dead meat in the middle.
I slammed on my brakes and hit my horn, and that is why I didn't have fries to go with my value meal, because the food went flying off the seat onto the floor, dumped the fries everywhere. The chicken was fine. It was in a box that has the tabs or whatever that holds it closed. But the fries were gone. Fries were done. Oh,
now, has you opened up any of the sauces for your chicken strips?
No. No, the sauces were all intact and closed.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Like barbecue sauce.
Yeah, but, oh, my God. Fucking, yeah, the cream spinach story was much better than this. But this had heart.
So big time assholery.
Luckily, the truck behind me had time to brake and responded quick enough. I did not get rear-ended. But after I slammed the brakes and started moving again, that's when I was like, holy crap, I had a truck right behind me. Thank God I didn't get slammed into, because that truck probably came within inches of me. And, but you do what you got to do at the time. And, so, to the asshat out there that makes lefts without looking. Now, I understand. It's hard to keep track of two areas of direction and find that perfect window of opportunity.
Sure.
But if you're not good at it, do like I do. Don't do it!
Right. So was that guy's vehicle bigger than yours? Back to that question. Obviously, the truck was the biggest, but...
No, that guy's vehicle is smaller than mine.
Oh, so he was not only an asshat, but he was an idiot.
Yeah, if I was thinking about the fact that the truck was behind me, I might have been better off just ramming into him.
Yeah.
But I it was pure instinct reflex. I hit.
Fortunately, the truck driver also had the instinct to stop.
Yeah. The truck driver might have had time to back off when he realized, oh crap, I'm turning right where this car is turning, and I don't. Things worked out. But that was kind of scary, especially when afterwards I'm thinking, whoa, that truck was pretty close to me. How's that truck doing? So, yeah, that is...
right.
But speaking of having to make left turns when you don't want to, I recently had to make a left turn I didn't want to. And it was... this is kind of another story that's not as good as the cream spinach story, but kind of odd. So I have neighbors upstairs, the people with the bowling balls. And the beer kegs and the doof 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 doof. They
jumping jacks, whatever.
No, that's you know that song. You know the song doof doof doof. It goes doof 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 doof. You know that one? You've not heard that?
I think
one?
you need to play a few more bars.
Doof, 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 doof. Every now and then you get a few extra doofs. You know, it might go doof, 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 doof. You know, there's different variations of the doof song, but it's usually heard coming from a adjacent room or floor, coming through
Involving a doofus.
Involving a doofus that has a volume control up way too loud to doof mode. And sometimes you hear it coming from cars.
Is that above 11 or below 11?
Oh, that's right around 11. It's often played in cars. You might sometimes be just driving along the road and someone's passing you here. Doof, 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 doof. You know, that's a common sound on the highway. So yeah, the doof song. That's their favorite song upstairs. So Saturday, I had to get to the post office to pick up some bootleg CDs I ordered from Russia, and that required a signature. And the post office closes at 12, and it's 11:30. So I opened up my door, and out in the stairwell are all three kids from upstairs, which, you got the 16-year-old daughter who's the oldest. Somewhere in the middle, maybe, 6 or 7-year-old kid, and one that's kind of toddler baby, still needs a car seat. The youngest, oldest, youngest are girls, middle's a boy, and they're all standing out there in the stairwell. And I'm like, oh.
16, you say?
What's that? Yeah, the oldest one's 16.
16, huh?
Don't you start. Don't you dare start.
That's right. 16 will get you some jail time.
This story gets this story lends itself to opportunities to make jokes at my expense, but please don't.
I was actually addressing that to Venison, so no, that wasn't on you.
Venison, let's explain to Venison how to appropriately be a good neighbor.
Right.
So
great neighbor.
So I say hi, how's it going, whatever, and I go out to my car, and after I leave, as I'm after I go out the front door, as I'm approaching the car, unlocking the doors, the 16-year-old comes out the front and goes, "Hey, sir," and I'm like, "Sir, okay, all right, let's see where this is going." You know, because generally people don't call me sir. You know, "Hey, you" is usually what I respond to, but
right.
okay, we'll go with sir. You know, or "Hey, jackass," or "You're my number one" is a common gesture of communication given to me on the road. But
this is a younger person showing respect.
Yeah, I said, yes. Are you busy? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, our Uber driver just left us here because he said that he can't drive anyone that's under 18. Or, I need someone that's at least 18, or they won't give us a ride. And I need to get to my aunt's house. That's about 10 minutes from here. And I'm like, oh man, this is a bad situation. I mean, do I really want to take 3 kids into my car someplace that I without clearing anything?
Yeah, unfortunately today that would be difficult.
Yeah, but then again, they're stranded here. I mean, it sounds legit that because I know their mother works a lot, and single mother.
Sure.
She's probably holding down at least 2 jobs.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of time they're home alone, and there's a lot of times that cars are coming to pick people up, and I'm like, I mean, this is a legit situation that they're really in need. And if I say no, I don't want to get involved in this, I'm just going to the post office, and I'm going to be back in 15 minutes, and I'm going to have to walk past them again after turning them down and leaving them stranded. Who wants to do that walk of shame back up the stairs? So it's it's not like they're complete strangers. I don't know their names, although she referred to the middle one as Austin. So I know one of their names. Okay, we've been introduced, not officially, but I've overheard a name. That counts as an introduction, right? Okay. And she's like, "It's okay, sir. We have a car seat for the baby." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that makes me feel so much better about this."
Right.
All right. It's just down the street. Okay. All right. Neighborly thing to do, and probably nothing will come of this. And nothing did. So Yeah, that's how a 16-year-old ended up in my car. I swear, officer.
Dun, 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 dun.
But of course, the problem is that part of driving to where they need to go involves making a left turn at a stop sign onto a busy road. Now, normally when I'm heading that direction, I have my own alternate route I take that's a bit out of my way. But when you're driving strangers that are kids to get to their aunt's house, do you really want to be the strange guy that goes, "Nah, trust me, this is another way. It's out of my way and it's longer, but this is how I drive down there. No, you can totally trust me. I'm not heading out towards the highway to take."
Right.
So it's like
Crossing state lines or anything like that.
So
No,
it's
I
like-
wouldn't be doing that.
I'd better just take the normal route. let's
Correct.
So I had to make the awkward left at the stop sign that I absolutely hate making. So as not to draw any concern,
Undue attention, yes.
undue attention from the 16-year-old who couldn't get an Uber driver. Apparently, because she's like, this hasn't been an issue before. They usually never even ask and just take us there. But apparently, so apparently she's been taking Ubers back and forth to her aunt's house without issue,
Yep.
and that's a legal no. So, yeah. So now she knows.
Interesting, yeah.
Lie about the age with the Uber driver. I have a feeling that that's going to be what she's going to do from now on.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm going to get a knock on my door. Hey, we need another ride to my aunt's. Can we, all the more reason.
Maybe you should, and I don't know how this is done, but maybe you should get a note from the parent saying, Jonathan is known to me and it's okay that he's driving my children around. This is normal.
Well, this was an emergency stranded situation. And,
Yeah, but for a future emergency stranding situation where the Uber guy isn't going to take them, right?
Well, do I want to volunteer my services going forward?
Well, that's the trouble. Yeah, I mean that's a tough one.
And heck, this is one of those situations where it was a split-second decision that I was like, yeah, this is risky. Yeah, this could be problems, but the chances are it's not going to be a problem. I'm just going to drop them off at their aunt's place.
And hey, it's only 20 years, right?
And there was no problem, and I was right. It was a minimal risk, but it was unlikely. But yeah, things could have gone horribly wrong. But now I think back, it's like maybe I should have asked them, hey, can you pull your mom up on the phone so I can clear this with her?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
That way she knows.
Maybe I could have gotten a little bit of a verbal, like, hey.
Now let me ask you this: was Kristen in the house?
No, she's dog sitting in Rhode Island.
Oh, so she wasn't around.
No. Why? What would that have changed?
What we could have done is had her along as well.
To supervise?
Shall we call it chaperone? That way there's two of you. So sometimes a teenager will do stupid things and say stupid things that are not true. So as self-protection, you have your wife with you, and then you've got
as a
an
witness.
additional witness. Obviously, you would not say anything about that. You just go, oh, let me have my wife come with us.
Yeah. Well, it didn't even cross my mind because it seemed innocent and simple enough. And,
Sure. Oh, yeah, sure.
And,
But
and I mean, she might be a 16-year-old hellraiser with the doof, 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 but I don't think she's, gonna, start pressing false charges against the stranger downstairs. Yeah.
Well, I was on a jury where the girl didn't say anything, but they found her diary, and the diary said some things that were not true. And social services got a wind of it,
and they took
and
it as
decided to
truth.
press charges against the guy.
Because why would people lie about things in their journal?
That's
And
correct.
it turns out she's messed up in the head with delusional fantasies that she's writing
That's
out as
right.
if they're real.
Which, in fact, the jury was not told of other things in there. For example, this girl had alleged sex with various teachers and this and that and the other thing. But the judge says, no, you're not supposed to hear any of that. We heard about that after.
How
Why did social services push forward on this? Because they were fucking assholes.
So you were on this jury.
Yep.
And how did the jury find?
We went with not guilty.
Okay, so you
because
found it
the
afterwards.
story we got from the girl's mother, from this guy, from his son, that this didn't, the actual events that occurred, which they corroborated, just didn't fit in with the diary entries. So we took the diary entries as pure fantasy. Forget about it.
So even without the further evidence that the judge had withheld from you, you were able to see that this diary had some inconsistencies.
Correct.
Well, that's very lucky for
this guy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it could have gone the other way. And it's like, wait a second. Social services saw this diary and saw all the entries. What the fuck is wrong with them?
I don't know.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how they will take the word of a younger person. That's almost bad. So something I saw on TV. I don't know if it was a joke or commercial or where I saw it from. All I saw was this little short clip of a cop pulling over a mother and daughter. The daughter was like a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old. Pulled her over and looked in the back seat at the girl, and the girl was pissed off at her mom or something. She held up a piece of paper saying, "Help me, stranger." The cop immediately went, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car!"
Sure, and that happens. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the bigger picture. I mean, the cop situation, he pretty much had to do what he did, okay? At least as far as what we could see.
Yeah.
Because chances are that's all he could see. But social services saw the bigger picture of what this girl was writing about these other incidents that didn't happen.
Social services should have been capable of determining this to be a case of a troubled child and not actual crimes happening.
Absolutely. And here is like the cherry on the top, completely unrelated to the whole story, because when you get to the trial, 13 months has passed. After the incident, the child was taken away from her family, gone into foster care or something. We didn't actually get those details. And she was on the witness stand about ready to pop. She was pregnant.
Ooh.
Again, unrelated to everything else. So let me see. Troubled girl. Let's see. And what did social services do to help her? Fucking nothing. They are a bunch of fucking assholes.
Oh, someone was fucking something, but
right.
Social services was fucking nothing.
Yes.
Well, my one experience with the jury duty involved. It was interesting because the case went forward, and I sat there for 2 or 3 days in the courtroom listening to testimony, and it was basically the prosecutor goes first. And the story that unfolded from the witnesses, the victim, the police officer on the scene was that this guy was messed up on drugs or something. Something happened that he comes driving into the parking lot of the building complex where this occurred, and this girl and her friend that were 2 teens were like watching out the window what was happening. Other people watching out the window because there's some commotion. And at some point, the girl and the daughter are standing at the doorway of their place, and he, for some reason, sees the 2 girls, and something compels him to attack. And
with the car?
No, he ran out. He was out of the car at some point, or he was outside and a car drove up and was yelling at him. He was yelling at them. But at some point, he charged at the girls, grabbed the one girl around the throat, and tried to strangle her. And they got him off of her, and he goes back to his place and goes to sleep. And the police were called in, and they got to his place there, woke him up. He was out of it and looked like he was messed up on drugs or something. And they arrested him and brought him in to the police station, put him in the drunk tank to sober up. At some point, he was reckless in there, and they had to pepper spray him to calm him down. There was video footage of that happening that we all got to see.
Yeah, pepper spray to calm him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
Yeah, there's logic to that. Yeah.
well,
You can scream louder.
well, there's throwing a rage and creating a ruckus and being down on the floor for the count, screaming. So I guess they decided that would be a better situation. I don't know. They either tased him or pepper sprayed, but they basically hit him with something because he was being too reckless in the drunk tank. It was so basically,
It would be inhuman to use shackles,
Hmm.
unless you're in Texas.
No, this was Maine.
Oh,
So
okay.
That's not how we roll. But the thing is that the defense had suggested in opening arguments that his homosexuality played a role in this, and that he was discriminated against in this apartment complex, and that the girls were yelling slurs at him, and that, yes, he did get angry at them, and he did charge at them, but he never laid a hand on them. They tackled him to the ground before he even touched the girl. There was no evidence on the girl of any bruising or any marks of any strangling, and he never even laid a finger on her, and so no crime had occurred. And let me tell you, I listened to a lot of witnesses, and the defendant's attorney did question them on, did you yell anything at him? And no one heard anyone throwing any insults at this guy. No one had anything to say about this guy's sexuality, and everyone saw him put his arms around her neck. And so I was wondering, geez.
Yeah, so his story was completely different from everybody else's.
And so after the prosecutor laid out their case, I was like, wow, I wonder what the defense is going to pull out here, because, I mean, this is all looking pretty open and shut and consistent. And so I was like, and then there's some questions about bringing in some new witnesses, because, when you're doing the jury selection, they ask you if you know any of the witnesses and if that's going to affect your ability to be impartial. And so then it turns to the question of, well, we want to pull in more witnesses for the defense. And then they had to ask us, do you know these people? And will that cause any problems for you to not be able to serve as a juror? I'm like, gee, who is this? Surprise witness? What's going on here? And so the next day, I call in to see when I need to report for jury duty, and they go, the case has been settled. You are done. So, defense had nothing, and they knew it. And they threw the towel.
They took a plea bargain. A plea bargain.
A plea garden.
And did it.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a plea garden. You still have to go away for 20 years, but
that's
you get to spend it in the garden. It's the plea garden.
That's right.
Random joke time for you.
Yes,
okay.
Right. But a good one.
Told to me, why do Jehovah's Witness? Why do Italians hate Jehovah's Witnesses?
Why?
Yeah, Italians don't like any kind of witnesses.
Oh, I see. Actually, I was on the best jury ever.
Oh?
I was in Texas, and in Texas, the legislature says, well, if you're going to declare somebody incompetent, that's going to require a jury to make the decision.
Okay.
So this was a competency trial.
Ah.
Apparently, the guy was charged with some level of assault, and we think that the guy was a homeless guy. But those charges weren't even discussed, because it wasn't about that. It was whether he was competent to stand trial.
And then if he's competent, then the next jury gets to decide anything that has to do with the assault.
Anyway, so in this whole deal, they explained the whole situation, as I just have done. And first, I think it was the defense attorney came up and described that the guy was incompetent. Okay, I hear that. I understand that. And then the prosecutor came up, described the situation, and said, Yes, he's incompetent. Which way should we go?
So the prosecutor says he's incompetent. The
He's
defendant says
nuts! Yeah, and let's see. So, in fact, when we went to the jury room, we actually had a difficult decision. Either we ordered a pizza and discussed the details of this, and then render the verdict to the judge, or just go straight to the judge with our decision.
and go get your own meal.
And we decided to go straight to the judge and say, okay, he's nuts!
Well, I mean, it's Texas, so it's not like it would have been a good pizza anyways.
Well, I know. And actually, I didn't know that then.
This would have been more of a dilemma if you were if this
In New
happened in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
I'd be
Absolutely.
like, oh, hell no, I ain't deciding anything until we get some pizza up in this place. You know?
Correct. Right. But no, it was Texas. Now, if they were talking about Texas brisket, we're staying, baby.
Now,
you know,
in
you got to have the right
Texas,
thing.
You're in the courtroom or whatever. You're in the judicial system. Could they cook a pizza using the electric chair?
I don't think they use an electric chair in Texas.
What? They retired old Sparky?
I'm not sure. We'd have to look into that if we really cared.
I'm looking it up.
All right.
Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about capital punishment in Texas.
You should have told him that.
Let's take a look. History, capital crimes, trial, appeals, death row, execution procedure, date execution, execution day. The law does not prohibit multiple executions in a single day. However, Texas has not executed multiple offenders in a single day since August 9, 2000, on which 2 offenders were executed. So let's see.
They like to spread them out.
Yeah. Let's see if it says, you know what, we need to start Googling chair, or searching chair on this. No, I don't know. It doesn't, let's see. Texas changed its execution laws in 1923, requiring that executions be carried out on the electric chair. All right, so that was 1923 they had an electric chair. The first executions on the electric chair were February 8th, 1924, when Charles Reynolds, Ewell Morris, George Washington? They killed him in an electric chair?
Dang. With the wooden teeth?
I think they were black by the end of that.
I think it was a different Washington.
I have a feeling. Yeah, those are the only references to the electric chair. So I don't know at what point they did away with the electric chair in Texas, because I think any place that still has the electric chair has it as a secondary option.
Yeah. I think the current, shall we say, popular method is lethal injection.
Yeah, but the drugs are getting harder to find due to that issue there, and but that you think that'd be enough to say, hey, we can't do this reliably. Let's just hold off on this and just keep people locked up, because what's worse than death? Life without any living? No, there are some people that are just gung ho on killing people. And I just don't understand.
Well, that's why they do it in Texas, anyway.
I just don't understand it. I don't understand. There's no logical, there's no moral, and there's no justifiable reason to support killing. I mean, it's
well, and you know, by going with, shall we say, an execution, it's actually more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, given all
because
the
appeal process continues, blah 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 blah. There's
no logical reason for it. Sure. Yeah, it doesn't save money. Crimes that are committed in a heat of passion, it's not a deterrent. Also, a lot of times criminals hold useful information that could be obtained from them later on if you keep them alive under lock and key. So
Right.
it doesn't provide any value in that sense.
Right.
I mean, it really comes down to it's a form of revenge. And do we really
Sure.
want revenge to be playing? I don't think there's room for revenge in a judicial system of a civilized people.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
not Saudi Arabia or anything.
This is not this is not the way civilized civilizations carry out judicial process. I think it's the most uncivilized thing.
Okay,
in
so how many
our,
viewers did we just
society.
lose in this conversation?
I don't know. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
if you're all for death penalty, I'm not going to get into a fight with you over it. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't care too much to debate, but I mean, I'll respond to anyone that wants to give their views. I mean, if you, I seem to recall my mom saying that she was in favor of it when it was a topic that came up growing up, and I understand. That,
Well, it is a difficult thing. To me, okay. So Charlie Manson got the death penalty, and he was a totally evil dude.
I mean, there's some
Period.
people that you're just like, you know, you get
And you
this-
just say, hey, you know what? You want to eliminate him from the gene pool. Period.
right, and
But
and
his
then you
sentence
realize
was commuted to life without parole. Okay, and then California brought the death penalty back.
and they couldn't
Although, have
give it
they
back.
executed anybody? I don't believe so.
Hmm.
But they didn't turn over his thing off life, and he was continue with life in prisons without parole.
Which, you know, good on it.
To
good
me,
on that.
if you're going to execute him, he was the perfect candidate. You know, these other guys, it's debatable. But if there's a reason, it's him.
Generally, people
we
that
couldn't
are
do
on
that.
death row have committed, you know, some of the most horrible, heinous types of crimes, and these are generally not the type of people that garner much sympathy.
Yeah.
However, being that there have been cases where in the appeals they've been found to be not guilty, kind of shows that there is human error in anything we do. And
Absolutely.
I mean, now the argument is that just demonstrates that it works. That's the reason why you have these appeals, because, you know, with all the appeals and all the things that are in place,
Right.
this guarantees that there's no way we're killing innocent people. But, you know, I'm not so sure that I mean, I think we could be 99.9% sure, and I'm not comfortable with that 0.1% room error there. Now, that's a number I pulled out of my ass, to be fair.
They kill innocent people every year.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should do away with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been shown that a disproportionate amount of minorities end up on death row, which goes to show some kind of bias in the system.
Well, there's a larger number of minorities that are just in prison. Forget about death rows or anything else.
Oh yeah, and that's a problem too. I mean, our
Sure.
we just do you really trust people to decide something like that? Even if you're okay
Sure.
with revenge and think that, hey, we need revenge in our judicial system and these people deserve it. Even if you're okay with that, which I'm not gonna.
So we'll take this clip out, and next time you're called to a jury where the death penalty is one of the possibilities, we'll have the judge watch this and decide whether you should be on that jury.
Oh, hey, if they ask my opinions on the death penalty, I have no problem basically saying I'm against it. And if you won't seat me on a jury because of that, good day. You know, plain and simple. But, you know, the guy that just tried to strangle a girl and barely got his hands around her, the death penalty wasn't on the table for that.
No, because he didn't
Because
actually kill anybody.
He didn't actually kill anybody.
Right.
So,
But was he competent to stand trial?
yeah.
Lynchings are another matter.
Well, but that's not done by the justice system. That's done by the injustice,
The injustice system, yes.
right, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, black man and white woman in an elevator. Black man goes over to push the button to go to the floor he wants to go to. Next thing you know, she's just screaming, "He's trying to reach over and rape me!" And he gets arrested and lynched.
Well, isn't there the story about the black guy gets in the elevator and wants to go to the fourth floor and says, "Oh, can you hit the floor?" And person collapses onto the floor, and yeah. Hit the floor.
Yeah.
It is I didn't.
Okay,
make it up.
so should we talk about something happy?
Terrific.
Well, I got something happy. I got a clip from CNN I want to bring up that I was watching earlier today that I think we'd all appreciate. I just need to find it. And,
Okay, do you want to look at that and I'll tell a quick story?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell a.
So do we
quick
want to
story.
talk about Newegg? Are you familiar with Newegg?
Yeah, I've ordered from them.
Yeah. Okay, Newegg or Starbucks? Which one should I tell?
Newegg.
Okay, so Newegg was audited by the Connecticut state sales tax people.
Okay.
And they went through the entire list of people that didn't pay sales tax to items going to Connecticut.
Oh.
So about 3 years ago, I was going to Connecticut. So, hey, I need to buy a new computer, a new laptop. I'll send it to my brother in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay.
Where he'll kind of prep it up, and then I will take it with me.
And you were supposed to pay sales tax on that to Connecticut.
Well, Newegg did not charge sales tax.
But
Like, okay, no
Connecticut
problem.
decided retroactively that you should.
Yes. So they said, yes, okay, sales tax is $100, and you will pay a late fee.
Oh God.
It was about $10. So I have to write him a check for $110.
That, you know what? If anyone else tried to pull that they'd be thrown in jail for that. But you got to hand it to our U.S. Government to find ways to turn their living into a crime.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking, oh, wait, let's see, is there any way I can get out of this? Unfortunately not. Now, see, my brother buys from Newegg all the time, and he doesn't pay taxes because he has a tax license. So eventually the taxes on that gets paid.
How often do you visit Connecticut?
Well, there was the once.
Yeah, but how often do you still visit there regularly?
Not regularly.
Well, okay, you plan on never going to Connecticut again?
True, my brother lives there.
Well, he can come
I
visit
haven't
you.
been through Connecticut since 1975.
Basically, the Connecticut government that is deciding to charge this retroactive sales tax to you only has jurisdiction over the state of Connecticut. Will California cooperate with them to apprehend you or garnish your wages or anything like that?
Fortunately, I'm not making any money, so no, I'm just gonna pay it. I mean, it's just $100.
Yeah, but if you're not going to go to Connecticut, I'd be like, yeah, fuck you.
But I don't want. I mean, there's a possibility that I would go.
To pass through
And
or
now,
to visit?
now, at the same point, you know people that live in Connecticut, correct?
Not currently.
Don't your in-laws live there?
They're in Rhode Island now.
Oh, any other relatives there?
No.
If you did, or if anybody does, I would suggest be very careful about shipping something. Like if you're going to send a gift directly to somebody in Connecticut, just be very careful. Now, Amazon probably would charge taxes.
Yeah, but if
That's
something
probably
doesn't charge,
okay.
well, that reminds me of a lot of people were trying to get around cigarette taxes by ordering stuff online, and it was kind of questionable if you were obligated to pay those taxes or not. And I think the technical ruling was you're supposed to pay taxes on cigarettes, but you're supposed to report that yourself on your tax return. which
Right.
yeah,
right. That happens.
There may have been one honest person in New Jersey that was doing this,
Right.
But at some point they and this was years ago. I mean, this was probably in the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s, or well, I don't know. Internet was no, it had to be the 2000s. No, late 90s. Internet buying was happening. Early days of internet shopping.
Sure.
The state of New Jersey got wise to finding ways to track sales. And they weren't letting people in on this until like the end of the year. They sent bills out to people for taxes. So this Connecticut's catching up to Jersey here.
Well, I mean, California, Amazon put pressure on California to pay the taxes up front, and Amazon just said, "Okay, that's what we got to do.
Yeah,
we're not going to get away with this." Partially because, everything you get from Amazon says either Reno or Las Vegas, if not farther. But the reality is, like, say you buy, the latest movie or whatever.
Yeah.
That's already sitting at a warehouse in California, ready to be dropped off.
Anyways, I saw this clip, made me think of people or things or whatever. This is a great case of someone not doing their homework, someone confusing someone for someone else in a very embarrassing way, and so here we go.
I tell you what, you working for Marvel, the Super Bowl commercial. Did you get a lot of reaction to that Super Bowl commercial?
What Super Bowl commercial?
Oh. You know what? I've admit my mistake.
See, you're as crazy as the people on Twitter.
Right.
I'm not lying.
That's my fault. I know that. That was my fault. My mistake. You know what?
We don't all look alike.
Flog, you're
We may
exactly
be
right.
all black and brown,
You
but
are
we all don't look
guilty.
alike.
I am guilty.
Next question.
I am guilty.
He thought you were Bob Dylan.
Right. That's right.
You're the entertainment reporter.
I know. I'm dumb
You're
to
the
mind.
entertainment reporter for this station.
Flog.
And you don't know the difference between
I
me and
know.
Lawrence Fishburne?
My mistake. My mistake. I apologize. Really, my big mistake. Let's talk about.
That must be a very short line for your job.
I'll
outside
say.
there.
No, it probably would not be hard to get another person to sit right here. Let's talk about RoboCop.
Oh hell no! Really? Really?
I apologize.
I'm the other guy. I'm the other guy. The other one. What's in your wallet?
Right.
I'm
exactly right.
There's more than one black guy doing a commercial.
There it is. No question about that.
I'm the what's in your wallet black guy.
Okay.
He's the car black guy.
There it is.
Morgan Freeman is the other credit card black guy. You only hear his voice though, so you probably won't confuse him with Lawrence Fishburne.
You're 100% right. To RoboCop,
there's a heavyweight black guy that's like putting cash down in the seats in a baseball stadium, but he's also the black guy that turns off the house, the water, and the lights when his kid tells him the house is cool. I'm not that guy either.
Do we want to do a list of all the people that you're not?
And I've actually never done a McDonald's or a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. I know that's surprising.
Right. Fair enough.
How about Popeye?
To the original.
And I'm the only black guy in RoboCop that's not a criminal, other than Michael K. White.
Were you a fan of the Peter Weller version?
So there you go. I thought that was a nice, funny little exchange with
That's right. He wasn't going to
Samuel.
let that guy go.
No, he was not letting that go. But he was not going to let him off the hook.
That's right.
He was on the hook.
The Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
Jesus. Mistaken identity.
That's a very awkward situation when you confuse a black guy for another black guy, and Samuel Jackson gave him the reaming he earned right there.
That's right. Yeah, he was reaming his ass so much it was coming out of his guy's mouth.
It's like, no, I'm not that guy. I'm the credit card guy. What's in your wallet? I'm the what's in your wallet guy.
That is hilarious.
Yeah,
whoops. Whoops.
Yeah, no, that was a list of awful news reporting moments. Another one was a great clip of what's that guy's name? The guy with the suspenders and the glass. CNN guy with the suspenders. Larry King.
Yeah.
He's interviewing the two surviving Beatles, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and after he asks Paul a question, Paul answers it, and he goes and calls Ringo George.
Yeah.
That was you know what? No, we got
George, same thing.
Ringo George. That's you know what? Let's bring that one up too. That was funny because Paul didn't want to let that one slide at all. Paul was having none of this. So let's all right, we'll bring that up there. We'll bring that over here. We'll bring that over here. We will
There's a DVD of Paul McCartney at the Cavern Club.
Okay.
And he's taking requests from the audience. And this one guy asked for Satisfaction.
Oh, no.
Paul rips him an asshole.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, that's not my song.
Where were you when John passed?
When John passed, I was in Sussex, at my home in Sussex. That's where I was.
Somebody called you?
Yeah, my manager at the time called me, and that was just the shock of all shocks, you know.
George, where were you?
George? No, this is Ringo.
Ringo, where were you?
I was in the Bahamas.
I was getting to it when George passed.
I was.
No, you weren't, Larry. You've got
Shut up,
his name
it's my
wrong.
turn.
I know, but you got your name wrong,
I
Ringo,
know,
on national
give him
television.
a break.
We can't cut
Anyway,
it. It's
I
live.
was in the Bahamas. And
Paul looks kind of pissed at that first moment. Like, no,
Sure. Ringo was going to let go.
Somebody called you?
Let's get that.
That was just the shock of all shocks, you know.
George, where were you?
George? No, this is Ringo.
No, this is Ringo. I mean, that very blunt to the point. No, this is Ringo. Yeah. This is the face of someone that is not putting up with this shit. And Ringo's just happy, smiling, like, sure, you called me George.
Wait, aren't you Chuck Berry?
Exactly. Chuck Berry, George, Ringo.
Here's the thing. Ringo seems to be like, hey, you want to call me George, call me George. Now, if you confuse George as Ringo, oh, hell no.
Just don't call me Paul.
Just don't call me Paul. Yeah.
The walrus is Paul.
Yes. But there you go. Please don't call him George.
Yeah.
And don't confuse your black commercial actors.
Yeah.
And on that note, it's time to put another show to bed because I've not had dinner yet.
And I finished my beer.
My working hours today were a little off because I had to break for so long in the middle of the day, and they asked me, "Hey, could you cover the 5 to 7 help desk queue?" So I was working to 7, and then I'm wrapping up stuff, and then Brian's asking about the shoe, and I'm like, "No, I don't got any shoes on," but I guess I'm not gonna have any dinner either. So
yeah, that's another thing. Can't wear shoes in the house.
Oh. I never wear shoes in the house.
You can't wear shoes in the house? Oh.
Why would you want to wear shoes in the house?
How about slippers? Slippers okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so slippers are good.
There you go.
In fact, I
am.
Actually going to Singapore where they don't wear shoes in the house, I kind of got into that. But I do wear slippers. And so as soon as I get into the house here, I take my shoes off and put on slippers, and my wife gives me shit about it. It's like, no, I like to wear slippers. I got used to it, and I'm sticking with that. I like that.
Yeah, why not?
This state's just weird anyway. I mean, how could it snow for 3 days, and you only get an inch of snow? 3 days! I was watching it snow. We only got about an inch. How does that happen?
The only thing
now,
I know...
Are you far enough from the lake effect?
No. We're about 30 miles from Lake Erie.
Only thing I know about Ohio is they're a swing state. They have a weird shaped state flag, and the Trans Am Nationals take place in Dayton every year. That's about all I can tell you about Ohio.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Ohio, isn't it?
Oh yeah, in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know they did a tourist advertisement for Cleveland once. Did you ever see that?
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. We got to pause the Pink Floyd here for a moment and bring up the Cleveland tour.
Well, and Ohio did have a lake that did catch on fire back in the 70s.
They mentioned that. They mentioned that. Actually, they made 2 tourist ads for Cleveland. So here we go. Here's number 1.
Fun times in Cleveland today. Cleveland. Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Come and look at both of our buildings. Buy some food that's prepared near the street. Who knows, you might even see this guy. You should come on down to West 6th Street. It's the perfect place if you're a douchebag. Watch the poor people all wait for buses. Who the fuck still uses a payphone? Here's the place where there used to be industry. This train is carrying jobs out of Cleveland. Cleveland leads the nation in drifters. Here's a statue of Moses Cleveland. He's the guy who invented Cleveland. Yeah!
A guy named Moses invented Cleveland?
Moses Cleveland invented Cleveland.
The only thing I know about Cleveland is what was on the Drew Carey show.
Yes, Cleveland rocks. So that didn't go over well, and tourism did not boost. So they tried again to see if maybe let's try and work a little harder. Maybe we can do a better ad and improve tourism.
Fun times in Cleveland again. Still Cleveland. Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Under construction since 1868. See our river that catches on fire. It's so polluted that all our fish have AIDS. We see the sun almost 3 times a year. This guy has at least 2 DUIs. The flats look like a Scooby-Doo ghost town. Don't slow down in East Cleveland or you'll die. Our economy's based on LeBron James. Buy a house for the price of a VCR. Our main export is crippling depression. We're so retarded that we think this is art. It could be worse though, at least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit.
Cleveland, they're not Detroit. That's their. That's kind of their.
Like I said, though, I kind of like their cable companies. Finally got to watch cable here. Yay! Even got my own TV in my room. I can watch cable. Yay! And I couldn't believe it. Some of the nostalgia channels were playing some of my old favorites. I couldn't believe I haven't seen this since the 1970s. I'm almost embarrassed to say this title.
The Donny Osmond show?
Yeah, no.
The Partridge Family?
Anybody remember Johnny Sacco and his flying robot?
What?
I'm not familiar with that one. Brian, you see that one?
No. Totally not familiar with that one.
UHF TV stations. Some weird ass stuff.
There you go. Well, anyways, we do try to be educational here on the show, and I think we've all learned a whole lot here tonight about how to prepare cream spinach. But let's go around the room here. And Brian, what have you learned tonight?
Well, the cream spinach, that's got to be tops. I mean, it's very much like kimchi, isn't it?
I wasn't there, so I wouldn't know how that was turning out. But I think it was less pleasant than kimchi.
They probably forgot to add the vinegar to make it into kimchi.
That's the important thing, because that would act as a preservative, and it probably would have had a better longevity than it had.
Sure. Because kimchi, shall we say, the process is kind of like pickling.
Yeah.
Which requires something acidic like vinegar.
Which this was the process of creating something for use in warfare.
Right. Yes, and it probably violates the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I think they have rules against rotten cream spinach on the
Yes,
books.
I'm sure.
Venison, what have you learned tonight?
Well, not really sure. It got distracted a lot by the person with me, but I found out that if you really want to cause a ruckus, have somebody help you move, make a wreck of the place so you're pulling stuff out the pack, and leave it that way, including a broken window when you're trying to carry down a heavy laundry basket full of albums, and you realize it was heavier than you thought, and you slip and you trip and your arm catches the upstairs window a bit, and you hear ping as you break the window, going oops, and just continuing on and leaving it that way. And the screen was up, not the storm window. Oh well.
They're probably going to replace those windows anyways.
Yeah, they're going to replace a lot of things, but basically leave the house with about, you could only get about 30% of the stuff that you own, and leave the other 70% in total disarray.
That's how foreclosures tend to end.
Oh God, what a mess! And I left my fishing poles there too.
Now, what about the VHS tapes?
Ooh.
Yeah, you're not gonna believe this one.
Probably
It turns out most of them we had to leave behind because, for 30 years didn't have a problem, but for those 7 that they were in a bad weather environment because there was no atmosphere control. They molded. The tapes fucking molded. All the old tapes are messed. They're unwatchable.
Well,
even a night flight. My night flight. It's all gone.
You should have converted them to DVD.
It would have taken years.
You had years.
Well, DVDs.
You live, you learn, you lose a bunch of VHS tapes, but
maybe get them later on, online somewhere.
They'll probably be online or rerunning somewhere. A lot of those sub channels or something on a Roku stick, or who knows. You can find all kinds of stuff anywhere. So hopefully you can find that.
Incidentally, I was looking up kimchi. Vinegar is not part of it, so it's not.
Huh.
It's not pickled in that sense, but a typical ingredient is salted seafood. And heavy doses of salt can act as a preservative.
Very salty, a salty brine type of thing, but not a vinegar.
Yeah, but and the kimchi I've had, I never considered as being salty. So,
but
it just added to my confusion.
I can see it being in a brine, though. Salt isn't the first thing that comes to mind, but yeah, I can see that.
Well, a brine would be salty. Yeah.
So I've learned that kimchi's not made with vinegar.
Yeah. See, we're learning here.
We're learning
here.
I had nothing there, so thank you for saving me with that.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you for. What's that?
Hey, I gotta say this one.
Okay.
Against the something about what the joke about transgender people. A man followed a young girl into a Target bathroom in Texas, saying he self-identified as a woman. The man's teeth were knocked out by the girl's father, who says he self-identifies as a tooth fairy.
Okay. On that note, thank you for listening to this week's show.
That one hits as weird.
That was,
Yeah. Of course, it's Texas.
I see the attempt at the humor there, but it also is actually a serious issue. But then again, I mean, if it really is a guy being a jerk that's just trying to sneak into the woman's room that's clearly not transgendered, then yeah, good on that guy for being a tooth fairy.
There you go.
But we don't need to be making laws about that. I think there's already laws against doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Anyways,
whatever you have down there is where you go. Simple as that. I'm sorry.
Well, it is more complicated than that.
It is more. There are people that live their lives as women that can't afford the operation to remove things down there, and they can pass as a woman. If you can pass as a woman, but you're packing something down there, does that mean you have to deal with the, I mean, you feel like a woman, you look like a woman, you live like a woman, and you have to go into the men's room with all the guys in there, and that's just uncomfortable. I mean, what if someone told you for some odd reason, whatever, tomorrow, from now on you have to use the women's room? Okay, bad example. It's really a complicated issue.
Well, it is. And
usually it's a non-issue. If you can pass, no one should care. It's just that you get people that can't pass. I mean, there are some women that that they're a transgender.
Well, and my question is, okay, so you have a transgender that is male to female.
Right.
And so that person's taking the hormones, whatever, and growing some breasts.
Right.
That's what happens.
That happens.
So the guys that insist that this person use the men's room, so like you're into man boobs? Is this why you're so insistent on this?
Well, here's the thing: is that this was actually the bathroom laws was.
Sure.
I think this was some backlash to. I mean, keep in mind, liberals were very victorious when Obama won, and gay marriage became law of the land, and it was a losing battle. That's just the way public opinion was swinging. And you have some people that still have very bigoted views and are looking for what they can use to swing popular opinion their way. And they found out that while people were moving in favor of gay marriage, they were not yet moving in favor of understanding transgender. And when you invent an issue about that, of, well, what about the children, and some guy could just use the woman's room that your daughter is in and be a pervert, this is an issue that resonated with people that got very bigoted, discriminatory laws to be able to pass. And so, it basically comes down to bigots find ways to successfully bigot. And that's the issue that we still need to work on in this country.
Sure. No, I'm with you on that.
I mean, if a guy goes into a restroom to be a pervert, you punch him in the face, and you don't need to invent new laws for that.
Well, but in the women's room, is the girl going to punch the guy in the face?
Someone's going to.
So not only do we have to have security guards at our schools now,
gotta have them in the bathroom.
We need to have, that's right. We'll have to have restroom attendants.
Here's the thing: do these laws these laws that create problems for transgender people are targeted to transgender people, and are discriminatory and forcing people to use bathrooms they're not comfortable using in? Do these laws actually stop perverts from being perverts? Is there a guy out there?
Do gun laws prevent people from killing people with guns? Want to use the same argument?
No, it doesn't. But if we make it harder to acquire guns, but do these laws make it harder for a guy to go into the bathroom that wants to sneak in?
No. Yeah, now, see what's happening in California. I don't know about the rest of the country. Like a lot of the restaurants that have the small bathroom that's for single use.
Yeah.
They're going to either gender.
Right. That's a good way to go.
Okay. And even some of the larger ones that used to be for multiple people are switching over to single use. Therefore, you use whatever's available.
Right.
The problem is when you got larger ones that have lots of facilities, what are they going to do there? Are you going to split them up and have multiple individual restrooms?
Look,
or in some places they have the men's room, the women's room, and then the smaller bathroom they call family bathroom.
It's really not an issue. Someone identifies a certain way, they go in to use a bathroom, they leave you in peace, you leave them in peace, and we all have a happy shit. And on that note, I'd like to thank you
one last
listening.
Thing.
Okay.
I was visiting Provincetown, Cape Cod.
Okay.
This was 40 years ago with a friend of mine. I went into the bathroom, did my stuff, went out. There was another guy that went through, and I kind of ignored him. Then my friend went in the bathroom, and he came dashing out like he saw a ghost. No, the guy that went into the bathroom had a T-shirt that said, "Boy meets boy." And this freaked my friend out.
Ooh.
Suddenly, he couldn't go.
Huh.
And I just laughed. I just thought it was hilarious.
And on that
this
note,
guy's not going to do anything. Give it up, right?
So I'm going to go eat some dinner. So thank you all for listening. NHradio.com for our schedule. Vamps on tomorrow. Other shows on during the week. Thank you for listening and good night.
Yeah, I got to deal with
and think about that.
about Death of the Family tonight. Or rather, last night. I got family all over Facebook and popping out of the woodwork. Holy crap.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah. So on top of that, being forced to move to Ohio and all a few other things, I'm having a happy time.